When the zombie apocalypse finally arrives, fancy sports cars will lose their value. There are several options you can take to get out of town, but hopping into the wrong vehicle can be the downfall for many people. Every decision you make during the zombie apocalypse can be crucial. From hybrid smart cars to cars that offer little to no protection, here are the worst vehicles for the zombie apocalypse. Number 12. The Scion IQ. Although you might see some advantages of having a car that's fuel efficient, if you can't overpower the zombies, you're gonna have a bad time. The Scion IQ is very small and made in Japan. It only has a 1.3-liter 4-cylinder engine with a measly 94 horsepower and an 89 pound-per-foot torque. You most likely won't be able to fit a ton of supplies in this thing, considering its size, and it looks like if you try to run over a zombie in this thing, your whole windshield would break instantly. Its max speed reaches 78 miles an hour, which needs to be a little higher if it doesn't want to be on this list. Its maneuverability keeps it from being on the bottom of the list. Number 11. Lowriders. People who live in eastern Los Angeles might not necessarily be ready to survive a zombie apocalypse, and here's why. First of all, most lowriders are convertible, which definitely makes things more vulnerable to zombies outside. And two, they're low to the ground, meaning a zombie will have no problem reaching over and into your car. In most cases, it would be preferable to have your car high above the ground in case your car is stuck somewhere. This will at least give you a decent vantage point if you had to shoot them from inside. The small tires will also prove to be ineffective in case you need to run over large amounts of zombies, or if you ever need to go off-road. Most lowriders are also old classic vehicles. Many of the hydraulics installed onto these cars are faulty and are prone to breakdowns. Fixing one might prove to be impossible. It might look cool, but looks don't matter too much when the apocalypse finally strikes. Number 10. A Dodge Viper. Sure, this thing has a ton of speed and power, but where is that power and speed coming from? The gas tank. The Viper has an 8.4-liter V10 and relies on gasoline power. This street-legal American race car has a suspension similar to a pickup truck, but have you ever seen any of these go off-road? It reaches a max speed of a whopping 206 miles an hour, but eats up an unnecessary gallon for every 12 miles you get on it. During the zombie apocalypse, you need to be able to find a proper balance. If you're gonna eat up that much gas and money, you might as well get something that was actually taller than a zombie. Possibly there's a way you can modify this car to make it more zombie apocalypse friendly? We just don't really think so. Number 9. Semi-trucks. You might consider getting a semi-truck if you want to move all your belongings somewhere else, and that might be a great idea, but if you simply wait too long, you will never reach your intended destination. The semi-trucks will take up a ton of space on the street and need a lot of gas, and really, they're quite slow. These semi-trucks are known for not being too maneuverable, unlike many smaller versions of cars, and they aren't capable of making U-turns. If you hit a dead end with one of these semi-trucks, you could really be in serious trouble. Not only that, but these are prone to tip-overs, which will certainly leave you stranded in places where you don't want to be stranded. Driving a semi-truck will, without a doubt, put a target on your back, especially to looters who want to take off with your cargo. Number 8. Cruise ships. You might want to believe that cruise ships are a great way to survive the zombie apocalypse, but a life out at sea certainly isn't for everyone. Unless the cruise ship has a way to convert salt water into purified drinking water, taking a cruise out of town might be a risky option. All it really takes is for one person on the cruise to have the virus, and the whole boat could become infected. Then, how will you get off the cruise ship? You will essentially be lost out at sea and have to not only become a zombie apocalypse survivor, but also a survivor who's stranded out at sea. This could certainly have an even worse mental side effect, and if you're not able to collect fresh water, it could be a very agonizing way to go. If you play enough video games, you'll probably know that it always seems like something goes wrong on cruise ships. The crew would also have to be quite skilled and have a tremendous amount of fuel on board. It's best just to stay away and to avoid the temptation. Number 7. Prius. Caring about the environment during the zombie apocalypse is completely unnecessary, and Priuses should all be crushed into cubes and used for scrap metal. During your journey through the zombie apocalypse, you might have to outspeed people every now and then, and when you're struggling to go more than 50 miles an hour, you got a serious problem on your hands. We can tell you in all honesty that you will never intimidate anyone driving in a Prius. You probably couldn't even harm a chihuahua if you ran them over with this. It doesn't matter how much barbed wire or spikes you put on your Prius, it's not going to be scary. I suppose if you plan on driving on a perfectly paved street for hundreds of miles and don't plan on having to use your car as a weapon when getting to your next destination, Possibly, only in this case, a Prius might be a little bit useful, but that's being optimistic. Number 6. Golf carts. Golf carts have their ups and downs. They're quite small and easy to maneuver and can carry anywhere from 2 to 4 people most of the time. They're really not meant for the challenge of going off-road, and they can easily flip over in many cases. You're likely to go airborne if you come across any type of hilly terrain. Some golf carts can reach speeds of 14 miles an hour, which makes them only slightly faster than running as fast as you can. If anything, golf carts could be useful in cases of patrolling your hideout from zombies, and also in grassy areas where you won't encounter too many rocks. If you consider adding some off-road tires onto these, it might not be a bad patrolling device. The biggest setback that earns its place on this list is the fact that there's little to no protection for the driver, and anyone in one of these is an easy target for a zombie if they get close enough. Number 5. Firetruck. Chances are you probably don't have access to a Firetruck, but if you do, leave it behind. It's not a good choice for surviving the zombie apocalypse. It's about the size of a school bus, but it lacks any cargo space for much needed supplies. Buses can at least carry you and your crew to your next destination. The Firetruck takes up all that space with hoses, pipes, and other firefighting equipment. If anything, just consider looting it for its supplies of water, axes, first aid gear, fire extinguishers, etc. before you try to get into the driver's seat. Chances are, you probably won't even know how to drive this thing anyways. It might not be properly built for an escape, but you can consider hosing down some zombies if you find yourself in a desperate situation. The hoses exert a large amount of force, but then again, it'll only temporarily knock down the zombies and won't destroy them. Number 4. Tesla Model S. This Tesla Model S is about half the price of other supercars and can reach speeds of 0 to 60 in just about under 2.27 seconds. However, its biggest setback is that it uses a 100 kilowatt lithium-ion battery. For $71,300, this Tesla can surprisingly race side to side with some of the fastest cars out there. It doesn't really give off those engine sounds, which could be a plus, but electric cars just aren't a great way to go for the zombie apocalypse. Lithium-ion batteries can break and even electrocute occupants of vehicles. In the zombie apocalypse, you have to expect a little bit of collision every now and then, and there have been cases of these batteries violently exploding during accidents. The little cells in these ion batteries can cause a chain reaction and can certainly trigger an explosion. If somehow you're able to harness the battery for some type of anti-zombie weapon, go for it, but be extremely careful. Even if you manage to completely avoid collision, don't expect to find too many Tesla charging stations ready to charge your car. Electric cars should just be considered a one-time vehicle only, since the battery will eventually die. Number 3. Limos. People might want to believe that limos could be a good choice for the zombie apocalypse, but unless you're driving the one our president has, you don't stand a chance. The basic design of a limo makes it difficult to maneuver, and the fuel economy is just simply dreadful. Slow to accelerate and with high maintenance required, outside of its capability to drive a lot of people at once, these vehicles are rather useless for escaping zombies or relentless raiders. It can maybe be used efficiently if you have to construct a roadblock, or if you can sell it to a rich person who doesn't know how to prepare for the apocalypse. These things will last maybe 3 minutes off-road before coming stuck in a pit of mud somewhere. Number 2. Convertibles. While being able to take off the top of a car might sound like it could make it useful for deploying attacks on zombies, at the same time, they can definitely have their setbacks. You're certainly more exposed to the environments, and it's easier for you to get attacked by zombies as well. They're not often meant for bumpy terrain, and you might end up like this guy who's stuck on a speed bump. Most convertibles are luxury vehicles anyways, which we've discussed don't make the best zombie apocalypse vehicles. Not only can the retractable top take up a lot of cargo space, but it can also be made out of very weak material that won't deflect too many weapon attacks. We appreciate all the great comments recently, and we want to hear what you think about this video. Let us know in the comments section which vehicle you think is the worst, and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video. And number 1, go-karts. Probably your worst choice for the zombie apocalypse is the go-kart. It's understandable that go-karts are fun to get around on, but it's not going to be a good choice for the zombie apocalypse. First of all, they're not fast enough to escape hordes of zombies. Although they might be quite maneuverable, they're pretty loud and will certainly attract zombies to your location. A zombie will be triggered by the noise and finds you this way. Second of all, being put at such a low vantage point will leave you quite vulnerable to either getting ran over or severe injury when striking a zombie. Although if you're a skilled driver, you might be able to weave your way through traffic, but this also seems risky. Hopefully, by the time the apocalypse strikes, you will have already watched this video and are ready to make your escape. Thanks for watching, and be sure to hit that subscribe button for new videos every day.